On November 16, 2017, celebrity bodyguard George Young was shot on his front porch as he arrived at his Buford home after finishing a shift guarding Lil Yachty. Investigators questioned George's wife, Tia Young, and family friend Harvey Tim Lee. Both insisted that George was beloved, and no one could have had a motive to kill him. As police continued their investigation, they uncovered that Tia Young and Lee had been having a secret affair. The pair are brought down to the station for formal interviews.
Just have serious. Let me grab my folder. I'll get back, okay? Mm-hmm. Like I said, brought you up here because also to talk about the gun. And like I said, since we kind of got to a point now where not a whole lot more where we can go with it, what we always do is we kind of bring you guys back up at the end, okay? Now, the last time that we talked, obviously, when we were in here, and I think you were here with Sergeant Millsap, there were some inconsistencies that we talked about at that point. So this is like, what is it, the third or fourth time we talked?
Yeah.
All right.
Once in the car, twice.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Well, this makes the second time.
Okay. So, like I said, I want to deal with that in a minute, but I want to talk to you and just kind of go over the story one last time because, like I said, at this point, that's where we're at. But before I can do that, because it's the third or fourth time you've been brought up here, okay, I'm going to have to read you your rights because you were listed as a suspect before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to do that, and then we can talk, all right? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Does that make sense? Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. Okay. So what's been going on since the last time we talked?
Nothing really. Just trying to work, provide for the family. That's it.
Okay. Is she working yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where are you working at now?
Still with Ackerman.
Okay.
But with a different sub.
Okay. Is that the guy that you were with after George?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's his name?
Tariq.
Okay. Is David still working there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you guys together working for Tariq?
Yeah.
Okay. How's he doing? I haven't heard from him. I think he changed his phone number.
Tariq or David?
No, David. I don't know Tariq. I don't know. Okay. So how are the kids doing? What's going on with them?
They're just trying to maintain, basically. Paul, the bills are getting paid between me and her mother.
Okay. And her mother's getting a check. She's not like working or anything, right?
Correct.
Okay. What about the oldest one? Is he working?
He's working.
Okay.
A couple of days out the week at home.
Okay. Does he graduate this year?
No, he's.
I couldn't remember if he was 17 or 18.
He'll be a senior starting school year coming.
Okay. All right. How's the middle one doing?
He's always kind of keeps to himself.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So kind of walk over. I had a chance to review the 911 call. Okay. So kind of just go back over because it kind of helps to get more of a play-by-play because it's kind of hard when you guys tell us and we can't remember, but when I can listen to it, I can kind of figure out what's going on. Talk to me about the what happened that night and where you were at and all that. I know we've gone over it several times, but just kind of walk me through it again, okay?
That was several months ago.
Yeah, well, just what you can remember. Sometimes people remember things they didn't the first time around, so, and you may say something now that will be like, okay, that helps me, so.
Yeah, I got a bad memory though. From sleep apnea.
Okay.
Shoot. Then like the 911 call.
Mm-hmm.
I ran inside. Well, actually, turned back around.
Mm-hmm.
I ran inside. Told Tia, look, pick up the phone, call 911.
Okay. So you were at the table, right?
Yes.
Sitting on the laptop. So she, at some point you saw her. Now when you went to the front door, you looked out the window, and that's when you saw it was George, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At what point did you go out the door?
When I went back up and came back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I went out.
With the gun? Like you had put, when you were putting it back or when you were bringing it down?
Bring it down.
Okay. And then you put it back. And when did you see Tia again? At what point did you?
She was talking to dispatch,
Mm-hmm.
and I was out there just kind of shaking him, George,
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. She said, I heard her faintly said, my brother's out there, got it out. So
Mm-hmm.
she said, T, the lady on dispatch wants to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
So came back in, got the phone from her, and she asked me if I know how to do CPR. I said, no, I don't. And then she walked through it.
Okay. At what point did the neighbor come over there?
Doing the part where I was trying to perform CPR.
Okay. All right.
And then she actually took over.
She took over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What happened after? So who got there first, the police or the paramedics?
I think it was the younger police officer. He pulled up like about 2 or 3 houses down.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of waved my hand.
Okay.
Because he was slow rolling.
Okay.
Looking.
All right. What was going on with the cameras that were on the house? I remember saying that they weren't working. When was he planning to fix those?
Jordan mishandled that for the longest.
Okay.
In fact, when I moved in, he said that because that was one thing that I picked up on. I was like, okay, cool, you got cameras here.
Mm-hmm.
He said, yeah, but they don't work.
Okay. So they hadn't worked since you had moved in.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason why he never fixed them? Since that's what he did for a living, that he didn't want the ones at his house to work?
I had no idea because his best friend, Rob,
Mm-hmm.
we had just did Rob's house, I think back in November,
Mm-hmm.
might have been. So it's like, we do this for a living every day, and then we just did your best friend's house.
Mm-hmm.
But still had no cameras up.
Okay. Let's see if I talk to the lady's name. So you went to Ackerman the next morning, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let's see what her name is. Take a look. I'll be right back. Let me go grab her name. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. Hey, you been with my Peggy?
Big, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I remember afterwards I had gone, also went to Ackerman and was talking to the people up there, and I think that you had gone and talked to her. And you had been to her house that day, right?
Not that.
Or did
probably about either several days before or
Mhm.
a week before I put in her camera system.
Okay. Did you know her before you had gone out there to put those cameras in?
Mm.
No? Okay. When you went there and you talked to her, did you have a separate conversation with her than you had with the group when you had gone up there to tell them what happened?
I told Willie.
Mm-hmm.
I told several days later when Mike Sands, CEO, wanted to sit down with David and myself. So Willie, Mike Sands, and Peggy knows the full scope of me actually staying there.
Okay. Do you remember what you told Peggy when you talked to her? What was the story that you told her?
The same thing that George had moved me in because I was living in hotels. But I had been there ever since.
Okay. She had mentioned that you kind of went into detail about what you saw when you came out. Do you remember where everything was when you came out of the house, like where he was laying, shell casings, all that kind of stuff?
He was on his back, like as soon as you walk directly out. Shell casings, no.
Okay. Do you remember seeing the shell casings? Do you remember where they were?
No.
Okay.
There was a spot of mulch that was kicked up. I thought it might have been there because it was way after the CSI people had left. Okay.
But you never saw the shell casings that were out there?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened after you went Ackerman? I know at some point David came to meet you. What was the purpose of David coming up there to meet
you? Because Ackerman was trying to figure out what they were going to do with us.
Okay.
Like, we worked with them through George, and George built us up with Ackerman. So they didn't just know us as employees for George. Like, a lot of the people there actually knew us.
Okay.
But to answer your question, David, what's the guy's name? There is a manager on the front side. I don't know him too good, but he actually said that he introduced himself. He said, I've heard of you, never actually met you, but we're going to try to figure out what we can do to keep you guys going. So between him and Heath and Willie, they were trying to contact subs to see who they can get us with. So Tariq wasn't that far away. He actually stopped by the office. By the time I had actually left and was already halfway home, he called back, said, look, can you come back? So I turned around, called David up, look, let's go back to the office because some guy named Tariq wants to sit down and meet us and he'll take us home.
So Tariq called you, or he called Willie or somebody else?
Willie, Heath, and the other manager, they all got together and they reached out to several subs.
Okay.
So they contacted Tariq and I think 2 other subs, but then the one guy, I do not know his name. Anyway, he said, look, you guys feel real good with Tariq's program. So I'm like, okay. I called Tariq. Tariq is on the way. Can you just kind of hang around? So they showed up. We still waited around. Tariq came in. We sat down with Tariq, talked to Tariq, and that was it. And I didn't tell Tariq like the full scope until it might have been a couple days later.
Okay.
So Tariq knows that I've stayed at the house and how long I've been there and all that.
Okay. Have you talked to Willie much?
You
still see him?
Because not too long after that, it's like the Ackerman office is not limited access. So even if I come with my Ackerman badge, you know, well, to put it this way, protective measures have beefed up a little bit more.
Okay.
So it's not no just scan in and walk in. Now who you need to see. All right, I'll walk you to them, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's his friend, but you know,
Okay.
I totally understand that. But since I haven't heard from Willie, the family hasn't heard from Willie. I think nobody's heard from Ackerman, period.
Okay. Have you guys talked to Ivy?
I don't talk to Ivy
Okay.
because we literally talked
Mm-hmm.
and actually sat down. She didn't believe the story,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure if anybody questioned her mother. Her mother said that she actually knew. She said because George told her 3 months prior
Mm-hmm.
to the incident that I was staying there. She said so she knew, but Ivy didn't believe the story.
Mm-hmm.
Ivy said, I don't care what you say, that my brother, Bubba, would have told me that somebody was living in this house. Bubba would have told me.
And why do you think it is that he never told anybody?
George always said it was nobody's business.
Do you think he was trying to protect you by not making it look like you were living with, having, I won't say down on your luck, but you know what I mean, where he didn't have to tell your personal business to somebody else? Okay.
Because, I mean, the only people that basically knew was everybody I told, which was my mother, my family, one of my uncles. Otherwise than that, I didn't know that George told his mother until that night where it was Ivy, Laura, George's mom, my mom. We were all in the same room. And George's mom, I call her Margie because that's her name, always known as Miss Margie. Margie said, well, before everybody gets too antsy, I just want to let y'all know, I knew Tim was here. George told me 3 months ago, so I've known.
Okay. All right. Have you and Tia talked about this much since then? What are conversations you guys have had?
Yeah, it's been crazy because the way we were treated, but she's a real lightweight, so she took it all to heart. And I explained to her, look, we gonna get hit with third degree. It's only to be expected. She was like, but they didn't have to cuss at me. They didn't have to do all this and that. I'm like, well, true, but there's no law stating that they can't.
Yeah. So she was concerned, I guess, the way she was treated at the house.
At the
The way that
house,
she was
here.
Okay. And she was talked to.
Yeah, she was.
Okay.
She was almost suicidal because of that.
Did she get help for that? Okay.
I mean, everybody just pulled together and just tried to help one another out.
Okay. When we had talked before, we had talked about the tracker and we had talked about Tia. I think you had said Tia knew about the tracker. I remember when we talked to her, she said she wasn't really sure, that she didn't know that there was a tracker. Do you remember why? You guys remember that differently?
I'm not sure what George may or may not have made privy to her. But
Okay.
he brought it to me.
Okay. So since we talked the last time, has anything changed since then? Do you remember the things that you told me? Is there anything that you want to change about what you told me the first time?
The only thing that I needed to tell you is what I just told you about Margie actually knowing. Because prior to that, like I said, nobody knew. And it makes sense as to why everybody, the department was like, okay, you don't fit. Nobody knows you're here. Like, why are you here? So, I mean, all that. Matter of fact, Margie wasn't questioned, nor my mother, which I can kind of understand. They're both out of state. But when they showed up, it's like you communicate with Ivy, communicate with Laura. Why not?
Okay. Have you talked to Rob?
When after everybody left, I talked to Rob briefly, and then I want to say maybe about probably about maybe 3-4 weeks later, I texted him and I was just like, I don't understand, like, why am I being looked at as a suspect? And he just said, well, tell the police I do their job, you know, all be a text. But he was like, you know, everybody asks questions. He said, so we're just asking questions.
Okay.
He said, because I myself didn't know that you were there.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing that threw a lot of people off. About you living there. They didn't understand where you came from or why you were there or why he wouldn't just mention it to somebody.
And even when I explained that to Ivy that night, she said, I hear your story. She said, but that's bull. She said, if my brother would have told me, he would have told me. And even when Margie interjected, she said, Mama, I hear what you're saying, but no, he would have told me. She said, out of all my siblings, me and Bubba would be closest. He would have told me.
Do you know, I'm trying to think about Ivy. Do you know if he talked to her often or no?
Okay. Like from matter of fact, I think it was the first time or the second time we talked, but anyway, from the first time I met them, like George, Laura, the older sister, she was already moved out. George took care of the house. Like, he paid the bills, he got all his sisters ready, he did all that. If they needed baths, George did that. So him and Ivy were always real tight. And even when George moved to Georgia, I think he stayed in Savannah then, made his way back here, Ivy got into some little issues in South Carolina. So she relocated here, started working for George, stayed here for a couple of years, and she moved back to South Carolina. And she was still working for George in South Carolina. So, I mean, anytime he went home, he always made sure he saw Ivy. He always made sure he saw Ivy.
And that's where he was at the week of the murder? He'd been in South Carolina?
The week before? No. The several days before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We knew that he was going down to the beach to visit Margie and spend time with Ivy.
Okay. All right. So one of the things was, obviously I talked to you before, and a lot of people had some concerns. What was your relationship with Tia? I know that you guys say it's a brother-sister relationship. I know that in the phone it said Big Sis, and you had said that that's what it was going to say inside the phone. That's how you had her saved. What is the relationship in your eyes, and what was it before? Has it changed at all through any of this?
I mean, she's still my big sister. No matter what, I always look out for her. If you ask her mom, she'll tell you the same thing.
So, I mean, I talked to her mom, and that's what she said. My question too is, in your phone, you have her saved as Big Sis. In her phone, she has you listed as a female's name for both of your numbers. You know why that is?
I mean, I never went through her phone.
So this is her phone, and these are your numbers saved under this female name. And then that's the black phone you had, and then the IPH is the iPhone.
Well,
so why does she?
Sonya is my sister.
Does your sister had both your numbers?
No, I'm talking about my big sister. Her
Yeah.
first name is Sonya.
Okay.
So I don't know why she has.
But why would she save you and her phone is that? If you guys are so close, why would she feel like she has to hide it?
I don't know. I don't go through her phone.
Okay. I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, was she worried that George? Did you guys talk a lot that George didn't know about? That she was gonna? She thought he was gonna be upset.
We always talked in front of George. So I mean, it was wasn't just me. Several of her co-workers, but like she said, and if you'd have asked her mom would tell you the same thing. Like her boys, like we could be in the room. Matter of fact, I know Ivy brought it up that night, but we can be in the room listening to music, watching movies. George come home, he'd go get a computer chair, pull it right in the room, and we'd all just sit and watch the same movie. Because they didn't have a TV in their bedroom. So the only two TVs in the house upstairs is mine and the mother's, Tia's mother. So
Okay. What was your relationship like with Zena, your ex?
It wasn't the best, honestly. It really wasn't. But her being my son's mother, I never knocked her.
Did you see your son much?
Honestly, not as much as I wanted to, because me and her, we were kind of having little issues. But when I could, she would let me.
Okay.
But there were several times where we weren't seeing eye to eye, and she like, nope.
Okay. Do you guys talk now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She texted me today. She bought a car from the auction up there. She was wanting to know if it was any good.
Okay. So obviously when, we talk to everybody that we feel like has any kind of past or talking to anybody. So obviously I talked to Zena. And when I talked to her, she said that you had told her you were dating somebody named Tia. And that you told her it was a school teacher, but that when she called her, it was Tia's phone, and Tia answered while she was during Valentine's Day with George. You know about that? You don't remember that? She sent you an email talking about it. Did you read her emails?
I rarely read Zena's emails because she trash talk so much.
Okay.
Half of them get deleted, honestly.
Okay. All right. Yeah, she said every time she asked you or she confronted you about somebody, you changed which Tia it was. Okay. Why would you tell her you're dating a person named Tia?
She actually called a Tia from, what school did she say? Cedar Grove. And then she said that wasn't a Tia. So she reached out to several Tias. Okay.
But you had told her you were dating a Tia?
No, I didn't.
So why would she come up with that?
I have no idea.
You think that's weird? That you live with a Tia and she thinks you're dating a Tia?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
She sent several texts saying that she talked to the Tia, which was a coach from math teacher from Cedar Grove. And then she said that she called two other Tias trying to find who I was quote unquote dating.
Okay.
But I hadn't been dating for a good minute because I tried to work it out with her and it didn't work, so she got upset.
All right. So she said, in the email that she sent, that was in May of last year. There's also an email that Tia sent you where she's talking about everybody at work hated her, and when she said her reputation was ruined, she's a homewrecker, and everybody's talking about her at work, and she's like, what did I do to deserve all this? You remember that? You do? What was that about?
Zena thought it was Tia, and she started harassing me.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tia says this was coming from work. Like the people Tia was working with at Emory were calling her a homewrecker.
From what Zena said, she said that she found another Tia that worked at the hospital.
Okay.
But she had reached out to several Tias, so she said that she was going to call every Tia she could.
All right. So Tia reached out to you a lot to talk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, like I said, when I remember that we had your phones before, I told you we can get everything that's deleted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in that, obviously I have those emails. I have all those emails that Tia had sent you, okay? And in those emails, she talks about yours and hers relationship. And talks about how good you are sexually.
From Tia?
Mm-hmm. So that's obviously my issue here is that everything shows that you guys are having some kind of relationship. So I just want you to tell me why. And I know you know these were sent to you and you read them because it shows us whether you opened it or not. So tell me, why are you lying about it?
I like to exercise my right to plead the fifth.
Okay. Do you want to continue this conversation? Or you just don't want to talk about this?
If I can go, or if I can contact my own attorney.
Okay.
At this point.
Do you have an attorney?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me talk to her right quick, and then we'll work on that. Okay. Hey, Tim.
Yes, sir.
So, honestly, after I talked to you and you wanted to speak to a lawyer and all that, okay, I kind of have to go with everything I have based off of what I have, okay? You're going to be transported to the jail today, okay? All right? You'll get to speak to a judge when you get over there, and you can call a lawyer and do whatever you need to do, okay? All right?
Use the bathroom first.
We'll let them decide that.
What's the
Yeah,
first
one
name?
to the other back. Tim.
Harvey.
What's up?
Tim, will you stand up for me? Put your hands behind your back. I'm going to give you some instructions. Then I just need you to separate your feet, sir. There you go.
It's a quick ride, Tim. You can use the restroom once you get there. Probably less than 10 minutes. You're not gonna pee yourself, are you?
I'm kind of close.
Kind of close?
No, we'll
Okay.
get you.
Sergeant Penn will make sure that
We'll
will
get you close.
happen
Do you have
quick.
anything on you at all?
Tim. The pocket knife. You got it.
Okay. What do you have in your pockets?
Cash.
I'm just going to go ahead and just lean back from.
Mhm.
You good enough? Tim, I'm going to go ahead and empty your pockets, all right, buddy?
That's fine. Checks, dude. You good.
Well, I'll dig in there, brother.
I got some mucinex in there.
Allergy season.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to put all that in a bag for you, all right?
Cash.
How much do you have?
It's probably about.
Have you ever been arrested before?
Oh, yes, sir.
For what?
Misdemeanor.
Here, take your shoes off. Take your shoe off. Do you know what you're being arrested for?
No, sir.
Good news is I don't know either. Hold on for a second. Before I put this in the bag, 120. Give me one, two. Two. Three. Four, 5, 6, 7. It's 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13. Okay, so you got $135. Is that the way you see it? Okay. So here we go again. 120. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 133. Sorry. You good?
Actually, leaving that.
Thank you. Sit that on there. You sit those back in. You can sit down if you need to. What do you do for work? What do you do for work, Tim? Sit down, and I'll put it. What do you do for work?
Security work. Low voltage stick.
Good. Why'd you take that one off?
Because I can't get it on.
Oh,
I gotta go. Hey, forcing my feet down and doing it.
there you go.
Okay. Push. Alright. This is on the good stuff.
Come on, Tim. Push.
Ready? Go to me.
Hold on.
Did you bring your phone with you, Tim?
No, sir.
Sé que estaba preguntando si tenía lo tuyo.
Did you leave it in the car or
At the house.
at the house? Tim, this place isn't coming out, buddy. So here. Push. Come here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Push. Push.
You can cut your legs. Don't worry about it.
Left mine in the car on the one day.
I got mine. I just had a shark.
Come on, Tim.
I'm pushing down. It's the back that's gotta come up.
It's out. Work. There we go. All right, Tim, listen. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna walk downstairs. We're gonna go to my patrol car. All right?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna go right down. See that stairway right there? Special order.
Harvey Timley was convicted of malice murder, felony murder, and aggravated assault. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Tia Young was found guilty of felony murder, aggravated assault, and criminal attempt to tamper with evidence. She was sentenced to life in prison.